Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new video by myself, Roberto Rodriguez, and the title of this video is going to be called The 5 Most and Least Hurricane Prone Areas in Florida. Now, to be clear in here, Florida gets a lot more hurricanes than any other state in the United States. That's because of its latitude, longitude, and position. It is surrounded by the Florida Straits, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Gulf of Mexico. So without further ado, let's get started. And it says like this, and I'm going to read it all out for you guys so you understand. It should come as no surprise that Florida has been hit by the most number of hurricanes since direct hits on land were first recorded in 1851 with the Saffir-Simpson scale. But a few Florida hurricane facts may come as a surprise. More than 41% of hurricanes that hit the United States also make some kind of landfall in the Sunshine State. Florida has also been hit by more than twice as many hurricanes as the next closest hurricane-prone state, which is Texas. Of the 292 hurricanes that have hit the U.S. since 1851, a staggering 120 have made some sort of landfall in Florida. The following 4 regions are the most hurricane-prone and least hurricane-prone areas in Florida. So, what are they saying in here? Almost half of the percentage of hurricanes that make landfall in the United States hit the Sunshine State. So now I'm gonna read all to you all the most prone hurricane areas and the least prone. So pay attention. And it says like this: the most hurricane prone areas in Florida. Number 1 comes Northwest Florida with 66 total landfalling hurricanes, including 14 that were a Category 3, including 14 that were a Category 3 through 5. And I'm going to read it. Surprisingly enough, or maybe not surprising at all to some people, Northwest Florida, situated on the Panhandle, is the most hurricane-prone area in Florida. That's partly due to the Gulf of Mexico, which is known for its warm, shallow waters, and partly due to its location in the U.S. Situated outside of the common tropical zone of South and Central Florida, the Northwest Panhandle receives lower temperatures than the rest of the state, which can help to strengthen hurricanes by contributing to the air pressure level that hurricanes need. The Northwest Florida Panhandle is so prone to hurricanes that it has surpassed every other state as a whole, as Texas as the second most hurricane-prone state in the United States, with 64 total hurricanes. And it says, listen to this, guys, this is very interesting. While this part of Florida has historically been hit by the most hurricanes since 1851, Northwest Florida had only been hit by hurricanes that were deemed Category 3 before 2018's Hurricane Michael, which was a Category 5 and one of the strongest hurricanes on record to make landfall in that region. So, it's pretty fascinating. Most people think that, hey, Southeast Florida and the Keys is most prone hurricane area. Yes, they are, but the area that gets the most is Northwest Florida. It's the Panhandle gets the hurricanes. And that can happen in all of hurricane season. Well, until October. There's Opal, Eloise, Opal, Ivan, and Dennis, and Michael. So let's go to the second region. And it says right this: Southwest Florida, and number 2 comes Southwest Florida, and in second place includes Southwest Florida with 49 total hurricane landfalls, including 17 that were a Category 3 through 5. Sitting directly on the Gulf of Mexico, which has much warmer waters than the Atlantic Ocean, Southwest Florida is tied with its southern counterpart on the eastern seaboard as the second most hurricane-prone area in Florida. The only thing separating the two areas from one another is the fact that Southwest Florida has been hit by 17 major hurricanes, one more than the Southeast. That includes 6 Category 4 and 1 Category 5 hurricanes. Pretty fascinating. The only thing that separates the Panhandle from the Southwest Florida is that South Florida gets hurricanes categories 4 through 5 also, but they have been relatively rare over the last few decades. So let's move to the third place. And the third place comes like this. Number 3 comes Southeast Florida with 49 total hurricane landfalls, including 16 that were a Category 3 through 5. Although many people may think Southeast Florida is the most hurricane-prone area in the state, this isn't the case. This is mainly due to the catastrophic Hurricane Andrew of 1992, which was a Category 5 that battered the state and is responsible for new building codes. The Labor Day hurricane of 1935 was the first of 2 Category 5 hurricanes Southeast Florida has faced since the inception of the Saffir-Simpson scale in 1851. It has also been hit by a record-tying 7 Category 4 hurricanes, which ties it with the entire state of Texas. There's the Miami hurricane of 1926, the Lake Okeechobee hurricane of 1928, the Labor Day of 1935, Fort Lauderdale hurricane of 1947, Hurricane Donna, Cleo, Betsy, Andrew, Charlie, and Wilma, and most recently Irma. So now let's go to the least hurricane-prone areas in Florida. And number 4 comes Northeast Florida with 26 total hurricane landfalls, including one that was a Category 3. Not all parts of Florida are as equally prone to hurricanes as the rest. Take Northeast Florida for instance. This large area has seen just 26 total hurricanes, including just a single Category 3 since the scale was introduced 167 years ago, and that was Hurricane Dora back in 1963. That means, on average, Northeast Florida gets hit by a hurricane every 6.5 years, if you do the math, or so, compared to its Northwest counterpart, which averages one hit every 3 years. That doesn't seem as bad. Since it sits in cooler waters and has a cooler climate than Southeast Florida, hurricanes that pass through the Caribbean are more likely to stay at sea longer and begin curling toward the U.S. when they get up to South and North Carolina. Many people does think that Northeast Florida is no prone to hurricanes, but yes, it is. But it has a fewer landfalls than any other part of the state. So let's say number 5 is inland Florida, which is closer to North Florida. If you want to stay as safe as possible from hurricanes but still want to reap the benefits of being a Florida citizen, inland Florida near the northern border of Georgia is the best place to live. It is the least hurricane-prone area in Florida. Since this area is not directly on Florida's Atlantic or Gulf Coast, they typically don't take direct hits in the form of 120 plus mile-per-hour winds. Instead, they face calmer winds when hurricanes hit. But that doesn't mean they're completely out of the clear. This area is prone to tornadoes when the rest of Florida is under hurricane threat. With the abundance of windstorms the state faces, getting adequate home insurance is a necessity. Universal Property and Casualty Insurance is here to help with your home insurance needs so that you are covered and stay safe before, during, and after hurricanes that hit Florida. So I'm going to show you another page, another source that has more regions than this part, so stay tuned.